don't do their jobs. It's horrible. Now we've got a major issue out here with the homeless being that there's laws that are supposed to protect us and spend it costs them more money to deprive us of resources and continue to lock us up for desperate things and to blow us off when crimes are committed. For me, I don't feel comfortable turning anything into the cops without them there and present. These people are not going to do their jobs. I've got over 100 of these type of folks with these positions telling me they're afraid to lose their jobs if they come forward, if they speak up, or if they do their jobs. Being a mandated reporter is an important thing. It is an important responsibility. Just because somebody is schizophrenic or delusional or has a drug-induced psychosis doesn't mean that they weren't victimized. Let me give you an example. Dean. Dean will walk around and give away all of his pot. And then sometimes he forgets that he gave away all of his pot, and then he's angry that he lost his pot. So he huffs and puffs and walks around and looks for it and comes back and bitches that somebody stole his pot. He even walked up to the feller over there the night after Dean gave that feller with the 2 dogs all of his weed. Dean was trying to run around and look for his weed. And I know Dean gave it to him. But also, it's Dean. I mean, that's kind of... Are you going to return the favor? And I get that it's just weed. When it's somebody who's worse off. Yeah, there's worse off people than Dean out here, believe it or not. The situation with Dean shouldn't have happened. He's an at-risk adult on the streets. They keep sending him to services that deny him his rights. He can't do those things for himself, just as I cannot do those things for myself. But the difference is, I'm not drug-induced schizophrenic. I'm not delusional. I know what's going on. I'm aware of my surroundings. I'm aware of the police protocol and all these other protocols. I'm also aware that their protocols are not being followed in any of these situations. When you have to go in alone, their protocols are different. They are entirely different. When I said I needed somebody to go in with me, from the very beginning, I meant it. Mulch does not belong on the road. It belongs, well, there where the mulch is. The rights of an at-risk adult are all dependent upon that guardian. I don't have a guardian, and I can't get a guardian for myself. The people, or Karen says that she can have somebody meet me at Community Action. No. I've been to Community Action. They did not follow protocol. They did not follow state procedure. That's why it needs to be a social worker. I'm told there aren't enough social workers to go around. Well, you know what? If they're going to have other agencies outsource their jobs, those other agencies need to be trained to do those jobs, and they need to actually do those jobs. Center for Living does exactly what they're trained not to do. The police do exactly what they are trained not to do. This is difficult for me to explain. Protocol, when it's just you, is different from protocol when someone is there with you, because protocol, when it's just you, comes down to what can they get away with. Since it's just you, it comes down to a matter of, does anyone care? A lot of people said they cared, but here's the thing, is that making these phone calls, the longer it went along, the more phone calls there are to make, the more places I was forced to move. Everybody's idea is for me to move. No, that is abusive. That is abuse. For somebody to come to you and you are a mandated reporter and you are going to push for months and months and months for that person to move, to go somewhere else, and that person is jumping through all the hoops that you asked them to so that they can move, and you keep telling them to move. Where? Are we not trying? Are we not filling out this paperwork? Are we not jumping through these hoops? The situation with the police. Yes, these agencies are supposed to be present during these proceedings. If you are trying to turn in a situation of abuse, Department of Social Services is supposed to show up, and they are supposed to do a very specific job that is outlined. And of course, government mandated. That means if that's your job, and you have to do it. There are some things that are left up to discretion. However, there is a big difference between discretion and outright pacing the other way as fast as you can. The other thing is, I would really like to press charges against all of these agencies, and I can have charges pressed against all of these agencies, because it's not just me that they're doing it to. They're doing it to many people out here. Now, there's officers who agree that this stuff is screwed up. One of them recorded on my channel. All right, that's not true. There's about 6 or 7 of them recorded on my channel saying they don't like how screwed up it is. That includes Brent Jeffson, Chapel, Nebraska. All right, looks like there's a little bit of a mess over here. So, of course, I'll clean it up. That is not where the flag is. All right, much better. Yeah. There's a veteran. He's not homeless, but he came down and gave us another flag to replace that one, and somebody took it. Oh yeah, we're all anti-American here, according to your jargon. Well, we're not anti-American. We're against the mistreatment of the most at-risk people in the country. And we're not just victimized by the public and our families, we're victimized by the system itself. We're victimized by a system that says to you, the American people, oh, we will take care of these people. And then they make situations that, well, loophole after loophole after loophole. Plausible deniability if they talk over you and don't hear it, or if they want to intentionally take things that you are typing or saying incorrectly. Well, it's pretty important to make sure that that is expressed. Now, these poor folks, they didn't know what the hell they were getting into the first time I contacted them. First of all, I'm pissed off, and second of all, I'm trained to do their fucking jobs. The problem is I cannot do what it is that they do, or rather are supposed to do. I can't do those things when I am in a state of panic, when I'm in a state of crisis, and I've been in a constant state of crisis. But crisis management is not what you think it is. You think that it's people who help you with these things. If you're being abused, they help you to turn in the abuse. No, that's not crisis management. Crisis management is asking you if you feel like hurting yourself or someone else. That's crisis management in a nutshell. I have the recordings with the Center for Living in the state does need to be aware of this, but I don't have the abilities to show them. I don't have the facilities to do that. And obviously, I wander around like a chicken with my head cut off. If you tell me to go somewhere, while I'm in a state of crisis, I may never arrive at my destination. I have to tell myself over and over and over and over that I have an appointment. That doesn't mean that I'll remember it when it's appointment time. People just say to set the alarm on my phone, but then I set the alarm on my phone and it doesn't go off, or it goes off at the wrong time. And sometimes it does go off at the right time, and it even has a little thing that says what the alarm is for. But when I'm in a state of crisis, that stuff doesn't occur to me, especially when you put me on the spot, because there's a lot to go through. Like, I need a place to process this. I needed a safe place to process my evidence and myself. I am autistic. There are certain requirements in order for me to actually at least somewhat recover from this. And none of those requirements have been met. When we're being abused, we don't get help turning in abuse. We get people who want to be standoffish about doing this job. They want to say, I can't do it, someone else's job. No, it's not. It's not someone else's job. If you're accepting government funding for any of the things that you do, yes, good luck. If you work with the homeless and the homeless are telling you about crimes committed against them, yes, those are at-risk adults. That falls under the elder laws. It also falls under the child abuse laws. Yes, it is mandated for you to report it. You can't magically just look away from crimes against at-risk adults, because at-risk adults are a lot fucking bigger. You just keep on letting these abusive situations happen to at-risk adults until someone hurts them badly. Because while you're not likely to find any little kids out here getting the living shit beaten out of them over a vodka bottle, you're going to find a lot of at-risk adults being beaten up for a lot of stupid shit. And they don't have a parent or a guardian who's going to help them to turn it in, to make sure that that bullying stops, to make sure that that abuse stops, to remove them from the abusive environment. You guys keep telling me to remove myself from the abusive environment. I am homeless. In order to go get homeless services, I have to interact with these people. In order to not get fucked with, I have to clean up the community. You have no idea how much work it is to be homeless. No, I don't have to do these things. You're absolutely right. But if I don't do these things, then it makes things worse. Cops are allowed to slander you and have you harmed. They do this to the homeless all the time. Well, the fact is, it's not legal for them to do this. And then there's the legal process. Being falsely accused is expensive. Hiring a real lawyer so that you don't get a public pretender, that's pretty goddamn expensive too. It's expensive because they don't give a fuck about you. There's all these people telling me, you need to get a lawyer, you need to get this, you need to get that. I can't do those things for myself. I cannot do those things for myself. I cannot do those things for myself. There are reasons. These reasons are verified by professionals. Even some of the professionals who victimized me. If I had enough money for coffee, I would go and get coffee and call Department of Health and Human Services and Adult Protective Services. The problem is when you are an at-risk adult, someone else has to make that call for you or with you, and they have to be there for that process. And that's what our caseworkers are supposed to help us with. But Jen Beebe didn't do that. Penny Cooper didn't do that. Meanwhile, all these people prey on the fact that I can't do these things for myself. All of them know it. It's not like I haven't told them 1,000 times. So when they do something fucked up, they know that I can't do anything about it. They already know that my disabilities prevent me from doing anything about it. And all of them prey on that. Yes, they can appoint an emergency situation and come and get me, and should have months ago. They can have themselves a little health board meeting if they want to, but they have to allow me to be present. Also, anything that any of these other folks want to say, well, I'm going to ask them for evidence of what they're saying. They're going to have to show proof that it's true. I'm not going to accept just their oath because the evidence shows different. When you're an at-risk adult, especially homeless, you don't have more access to services. Yeah, you're supposed to. But the reality of it is that you have to have resources to receive those resources. A lot of people wanted to be mad at me about doing things that I had to do because they wouldn't shut up and stop telling me about their family and actually do their job. Telling me about all their own problems. Sean, I can't because of this, and Sean, I can't because of that. Months and months and months of it. And then finally, when I have to do something desperate, then they pretend that they're gonna, and then they fall back on that one little piece of history. Oh yeah, Sean, I tried to help you turn it in after you literally had to break the law because I wouldn't do shit. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for pushing me to the point that I literally had to break the law for you to stop talking over me and take it fucking seriously. But, you know, the situation with Meg Missigatis, oh my God, that makes her huff and fucking puff. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, bitch, help me turn this shit in. Don't fucking huff and puff like a goddamn 5-year-old. You're fucking 50 goddamn years of age. It's your job or it isn't. If it's not your job, you need to drop the fucking title. Do not say that you're an advocate if you're not advocating. Don't do it. State of Nebraska, they've got a very specific legal definition. I am an at-risk adult. At no point in time was it okay or acceptable for me to be blown off by any of these agencies or services. For them to go out of their way to deny me the right to show them evidence. It's against the First Amendment. This is our very First Amendment to the Constitution, folks. Isn't that funny? I have been discriminated against horribly. And that discrimination is illegal. You know what? You guys want to push it all on homelessness. No, it's not all on homelessness. It's taking advantage of the disabled. That is exactly what they're doing. All these people out here who are disabled, and they're stuck out here with people who are, well, the actual monsters. But you don't do shit. You guys keep trying to push me on to different agencies. No, a civilian has to do something. A civilian, because a civilian is not bound by these different state crap jurisdiction bullshit. If there are things that are happening across the nation and they're all happening to me, then yes, I do need someone who is a civilian who cares to look, instead of everyone pushing me off to another agency. Adult Protective Services needs to be a part of this. DHHS needs to be a part of this. And there needs to be a civilian present to make sure that proper procedure is followed. When you get some ignorant fucking nitwit like Megan Misigatis, well, it's gonna fucking suck. She didn't want to begin with. I get that. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to do their job. She needed to drop the title. She gaslighted me differently. She didn't think she was doing anything wrong. Kara Johnson Miles knew she was doing something wrong. Later on, when Megan Misigatis, when I tried to turn in that firearm before it was ever even built, well, she broke the law. Here I am going to the person that I'm supposed to. It's not that I didn't try. The thing is that the false charges and the abuse by the Bollingers and the police created a situation where I literally had to break the law because I was cut off from everyone. People need to take a look at the abuse that I've endured instead of pretending that it didn't fucking happen. Now maybe Karen will call me back. Maybe not. She's talking to her supervisor. And she said she'll do a bunch of reaching out. Well, here's the problem about doing all that reaching out is that if it's not someone going in with me to turn in these crimes, it's not help. If it's not helping me to get back the resources that I've been victimized out of, it's not help. A lot of people, they say, oh, it's not illegal. The cops said it's not illegal. I'm like, well, I have examples in the news, in recent news, and not just in recent news, in many of these cases, these officers doing those things to other people, and it turns out to be illegal. Maybe you shouldn't believe everything a cop fucking tells you, stupid. They're liars. When you tell me to trust a cop, I know not to already. I already know not to trust the cops. And if you're dumb enough to trust the cops, I don't trust you either. Checks and balances, people. Without that system of checks and balances, they do whatever they want. They don't follow proper procedure, they follow protocol. Their protocol when you are alone is, hey, nobody cares. This is one we can pick on. When it comes to some of these people like Megan Misigatis, you know, she doesn't want to come forward, and I don't give a shit. It is her job. Because she was an advocate, that is her job. A lot of these protocols that these guys want to tell me, they're protocols that I've gone through before. Like when you have to call in alone. When you were an at-risk adult, somebody, a concerned citizen, has to call it in. I can't, they won't listen to me. Someone has to call them up and say, yes, these things are actually fucking happening. You have to take the initiative to do that. You have to do that. You say, I have to do it. Look how I'm treated when I do it. Oh, damn, I got coffee. It's old from yesterday, and it looks as if I spilled it all over my stuff, but I guess I got coffee. I don't even like coffee. I go to Starbucks for the internet and for the safe place policy. Y'all tell me to contact people that I can't function well enough to do that. I don't have the resources to do that. I can't just keep jumping through all these hoops. I need to be able to safely go back to Nebraska and turn my predators in without being retaliated against for trying to turn them in. Law enforcement is a brotherhood, just like the KKK. If one of their members does something bad, you try telling on them, it's retaliation time, and they will retaliate, and they have the power to retaliate. And the only thing that stands in the way of them doing that and actually getting the right thing done is you standing up. You speaking up, actually fighting for their rights. In 6 years, these people could have been sharing my story. They can share lots of other people's stories, but not somebody that they know, especially in a situation that they were a part of. They were a part of this situation. All these people knew that I was telling the truth, but they were too cowardly to come forward. Wanted to hide behind their kids. Many people who had asked me for help, needed help because of kids, wanted to hide behind those children. No. There is one person who actually cares about these children enough to keep them safe and do what it takes to keep them safe, and that person is me. Natalie Bollinger needed help. I needed help. It could have easily been dealt with by any one of the cops that me and Natalie had talked to. Simply having a three-way call and finding out what the fuck is going on. We could have called a crisis counselor together to fucking hash this shit out. We could have had an arbiter to hash this shit out. The more this goes on, the less I have the ability to do, and the more bullshit I have to deal with. I have to do desperate shit to try to get help. This is not fucking okay. I shouldn't have to do those things to try to turn these people in because my disabilities are being taken advantage of. I am disabled. I cannot do these things for myself. For these people to ignore that is illegal and immoral. But because they did ignore it, they got away with their crimes. There's also the fact that there's a big-ass goddamn paper trail, fuckheads. Any goddamn idiot can fucking follow the paper trail. Alright, I just got off of a phone call with someone from the Dalles with the Center for Living there. I explained to him that I'd already explained to Karen that that's not okay. There needs to be an actual caseworker. I have to make all these calls by myself for them to tell me to call someone else. No, that falls under the executive functioning issues. that's taking advantage of my disabilities. Forcing me to call all these places by myself is taking advantage of my disabilities. I explained to all of these people I can't do these things for myself. So this guy talked to me, told me he's gonna spend some time researching. Everybody tells me they're gonna research. They research for me to call somebody else who's gonna tell me they're gonna research. The other problem is I don't have the ability to record it right now. There's also the fact that it's heating up, and there's the fact that I am sick from an infection on my backside. And I can't pop it, I can't lance it, and I can't drive. So there's a couple of folks out here who are sober, other than myself, and they're able to do things for themselves because they're still of able-bodied work. I'm not also of an able mind to work. I am in a constant state of panic and crisis, and therefore I cannot function. In order for me to not be in a state of panic and crisis, something needs to be done about the reasons that I am in panic and crisis. People need to take it seriously, which means someone needs to take a look and ask why these people didn't do their jobs. There ain't enough bottles around here or cans for me to make enough to get something to drink, or I would try that this morning. I didn't get the guy's name, and I'm probably not going to remember it. That's the problem with these folks not understanding that it is the environment that makes me like this. It is the environment. You guys abuse me because I'm not able to do things that I told you I couldn't do. I told you I couldn't do those things for myself, and you victimized me for it. You use that to victimize me, to pretend like I'm retarded. Or to say I'm not trying. And so this guy said that he would try to do something about APS. I also explained, of course, I probably shouldn't tell you anything that was in the conversation because I wasn't able to record it, and you're going to call me liars. And of course, right now I don't have the ability to, even if I did record it, I don't have the ability to show it to you, which is stupid. He also called in the middle of the recording. I probably shouldn't talk about any of this stuff with Karen because it's not recorded either. If I had the money, I would go record it. Any community liaison is going to have to work closely with the police. That's for the safety of the homeless and the safety of the public. The public hates us as if we're all those meth addicts. But then again, those meth addicts victimize us first. They come to our camps and raid what they can, little bits and pieces. Who cares, right? Sometimes it's jewelry, sometimes it's clothing. Sometimes it's the radio your dad gave you back in 1986 and he thinks it's a collector's item and he's going to be able to sell it. Sometimes you wake up and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're wondering whose dog is outside of your fucking camp, and you open up your window or open up your fly on your tent, and what do you got? You got some fucking tweaker disassembling something in the middle of your camp. He's not going to put it back together. Of course, he's also going to tell you 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. He's on tweaker time. It's going to take him 4 fucking hours. And he's not going to finish the job, and he's just going to leave it there frustrated. Meanwhile, we're stuck out here with these people. Why did I do outreach so much with people who are addicts? Because they're people too. They get ripped off and victimized by the same people too. Not all of the tweakers are horrible monsters. A lot of them are addicts though. And addicts, they don't do this stuff because they're evil. They do it because they're desperate. I try explaining what needs to happen, and someone needs to come down here and look at the evidence. I shouldn't have to call people and threaten to do things that I have zero intention of doing. I mean, how many times did I call these places up? Over and over and over again. The first time that I called Karen, she's the one from Community Action. I believe it's Community Action Partnership of Oregon. Because of the safety issues inherent with me even being in Hood River. The safety issues for everyone around me. I want you to imagine there are 3,700 people in this town. And then there's the reputation people try to play off of me, trying to pretend like I'm a druggie and a schizophrenic and delusional and a murderer and a stalker and all sorts of creepy shit. How long do you think it's going to be before some target of opportunity, some guy goes, you know what? I could murder my wife and get that money, or just get rid of her because she's driving me fucking nuts, and I could blame it on that homeless guy down there. He's got a reputation. You know, while people were trying to pretend that I did things up in Hardin, Montana during a period of time that I wasn't in Hardin, Montana, you know what helped me out on that? The fact that I was nowhere near Hardin, Montana, and I was making videos from Dallas Richmond's house in Chapel, Nebraska. Matter of fact, there were videos that I was making while Selena Not Afraid was in the vehicle with her friends. There were videos being made at the approximate time and hour that Selena Not Afraid actually walked away from the vehicle. And within a couple hours afterwards. So, you know, that's pretty solid facts. But that's also something where people were able to look at that and go, yeah, it doesn't line up. People actually took the time to do that. Did people take the time to do that in the Natalie Bollinger case? No, they didn't. I'm dealing with a lot of people who have assumptions, and before they can help me, they need to get over their assumptions. They tell me there's a certain way they have to go about it. Well, that's why there needs to be civilian oversight. The amount of money that it cost the taxpayers and citizens of Chapel, Nebraska to have me incarcerated for 7 months. That's just a 7-month stint. They kept on doing this, by the way. The threats against my family and my friends and the people who offered to help me are significant and should be brought up. The fact that I was trying to get an advocate and helped starting a GoFundMe before Natalie was killed. The fact that I was trying to get court proceedings going before Natalie was killed and to try to get my own help. And I was denied those things. It's the same shit here. It's the same exact shit. Without supervision, these people are about useful as, well, they're not. Anyway, I had to get out of my vehicle, and I'm sitting on my foot all funky because that boil that's on my backside that is affecting my brain is in a severe amount of pain. Matter of fact, just the tightness of my pants from squatting in that position is hurting me, and that's just not cool. I also gotta tie my shoes, so I gotta do something about this. Now, I got a higher pain threshold than most. Well, physical pain anyway. Emotional pain as well. The stuff that people cracked over, I didn't. I didn't crack over one person dying. I didn't crack over one instant of somebody calling me a name. I didn't crack over one instant of somebody assaulting me. What did I crack over? The mass quantities of it that prevented me from seeing my loved ones, prevented me from visiting with them in person, and prevented me from being heard in person. Being forced to text message with people, that's fucked up. Especially when everything is taken wrong. Why don't you listen? When somebody is trying to tell you about abuse that they're going through, they did go to you for help. You blowing them off is a decision. When the courts want to pretend like you didn't try, well, it wasn't the courts, was it? It was the cops I was trying to turn in. So a lot of these cops that did wrong shit were allowed to transfer to other jurisdictions. I saw these cops in other jurisdictions. Small world, right? Like the cop that was supposed to investigate Natalie's situation, who was supposed to have called me. He never called me, but he was one of those cops in Longmont. Small world, right? He didn't do his job, but it's okay. He still got paid, and he was allowed to go somewhere else where he committed crimes. I get that Alicia Bollinger is pretty, but she's the one on the drugs. I get that Natalie Bollinger is pretty. But you know what? They manipulated you because you're stupid, because you don't care about right and wrong. You don't care about the evidence. You want to pretend that just because somebody made a claim, that makes it true. What did Natalie Bollinger claim? What did these people assault me over? These people assaulted me because they wanted to pretend I was a child molester. No, before Natalie Marie Bollinger turned 18, I always ran her off. Same rule for everybody. If you're not 18, you're 12. Trying to clean out my clothes. I can't fill out a job application. All right. I don't know if you guys can understand that. Yes, I'm highly intelligent. I can't even fill out a job application. It's not that I don't try. It's that for some odd reason, my job applications aren't good. Mostly that's because I'm honest. It's got a little thing on there saying you can be arrested and go to prison or jail for filling out information on there that is incorrect. And of course, I don't always have that. That's one of the things about constantly being in movement. That's the problem with that camp down there. Because people have had to move like 7 times in 8 months. Then the community says, hey, we got like 30 different spots where everything, all the foliage and all that's dead. Well, yeah. There'll only be 10 of those spots or less if you just let people stay, just leave them alone. But also, we have the influx of those other people in our homeless community, and we have to be accepting of them, and we have to babysit them, or you will harm us because they exist, because you're not going to do anything about them. Now, the situation with Drew. Drew needs to recover, and he cannot recover on the streets. He doesn't need to be going to jail. He doesn't need to be going to prison. He is not responsible mentally for anything that goes on right now. He's not. He's not capable of being mentally responsible. If they try to take him away and he assaults them, he's not responsible for the assault. He's not there mentally enough. He's not there together well enough for that. He can pretend for about 5 minutes at a time before he starts going off on the deep end. And most of that 5 minutes at a time is because he'll just stop talking. I have to go to drug addicts and alcoholics, people who are victims themselves and have severe PTSD, enough that they're traumatized to the point where they can't function. I'm expected to understand why they can't function. I actually do understand why they can't function, and I speak out about it. I get their stories too. Some of them. With all these calls that I'm making, you know what the two biggest problems are? Number one, I'm having to make them alone. That's not okay. My guardian should be making these calls with me. The thing is, if you're being abused and you tell your guardian about it, they have to take a look at it. They have to take a look. If they refuse, then they are breaking the law. They're neglecting their responsibilities as a guardian, and they go to prison. I needed a guardian. With all of these places that were supposed to help me, trying to talk me out of getting a guardian, no, I need one. Not want, I need one. Having people in these professional capacities telling me, you don't want one of these. Well, I know what you're telling me. I know what you're telling me. But yes, I do need a guardian. I needed a guardian before everything got taken away from me because of abuse. I needed a guardian before I was victimized to the point of fucking repeated meltdowns. And what are these meltdowns from? For the rest of y'all, you would call them a mental breakdown. But neurotypicals have it in their heads that autistic people, because you say we're wired different, it must mean our wires are crossed and we're broken. No, you're a fucking idiot. Oh my God, Rick and Morty. It says peace among worlds. That's a cool sticker. Yeah, I don't really watch the cartoon, but I like the fingers. Absolutely. The problem is I'm being told to do things I'm not capable of doing. I'm not capable. No matter how many times I tell these people I'm not capable, they still tell me to do these things. I am not capable. That is how fucked I am mentally and physically. I am not capable. I'm not capable. I am not capable. After I left Virginia, I should have been able to go someplace and recover. That place should have been Boulder. I should have been able to see the people who made my life better instead of having to go back to Chapel, Nebraska to a bunch of fucking shitty people with shitty goddamn attitudes. And people say, oh, well, you need to surround yourself by positive people. Where the fuck are the positive people out here? We got people who are fucking clueless, who want to tell us pretty fucking words, and then we got the people who are constantly bitching about their problems. Every homeless person out here, instead of trying to get help with their issues from other homeless people, they want to have a pissing contest. Well, go ahead and have your fucking pissing contest. I'm leaving. And you guys want to talk about how people don't get social cues. How about you get the social cue? I don't like bullshit. That's an autistic trait. We don't like useless fucking banter. I heard your story yesterday. I heard you the day before. I heard you the day before that. Every time somebody comes up, you want to fucking tell that goddamn story. I'm sick of fucking hearing it. Now, I offered these people, I'll help you. I will help you. I will do what it is that these other agencies who are not doing their jobs are supposed to. They're supposed to help you with it. And no, I'm not very good at that shit, but at least I'm willing to fucking try. Most of these people, they have everything that they need in order to fill out all this stuff. They already have the information. Sometimes it's a matter of digging it up and needing help with that because they're shut down because they're in a constant state of panic trying to take care of survival needs. Wandering around for hours trying to get water, wandering around for hours trying to get cans, wandering around for hours. For you guys, something that takes 5 minutes takes 5 minutes. For us, it takes a lot longer than 5 minutes. For you to drive to the store and get all of your groceries, shit, you get 200 pounds worth of groceries easy and stuff them into your vehicle and then drive 5 minutes home. Now, when it's a person who has to walk, first of all, they're going to be limited on what they can buy. A lot of the stuff that's cheap in the stores, they can't buy because they can't cook it. No place to cook it. They'll get in trouble if they cook it, so you can't cook it. So you got to buy the prepared stuff, which is more expensive. And then, of course, when you got to go 5 miles in one direction and 5 miles in the other, an average of 15 minutes per mile, that's 2.5 hours of walking. Now, when you consider you're going to get about 10 pounds worth of groceries, and then you're going to have to do that 10 times so that you can have the same 200 pounds worth of food in a month. So that's 25 hours of walking. 25 hours of just walking. That's more than half of a work week, all walking. You also got to consider that the walk back is going to be slower because, well, you're weighted down by groceries. Hopefully you're smart enough to buy 2 bags. But then again, we don't have bags with handles here. They're paper bags. So for you to have to carry it is going to hurt your back a lot. By the time you get to camp after walking 5 miles, carrying a bag of groceries like that, a brown bag of groceries like that, well, you're screwed. Then you say, oh, well, why don't you buy those forever bags or whatever they're called? That's what a plastic bag is, isn't it? You mean those ones with the fancy labels on them and they're nicely sewn together and you can use those. Yeah, we find those all the time. The problem is carrying those. You got to carry it to here and to there, and you're carrying, like I said, extra weight, extra bulk. And of course, those things cost money. A lot of the ones that we find, like I saw one over by the Walmart, and I was like, you know what, I can use that. But then when I picked it up, it was mold and mildew rotted to the bottom. Now, the plastic itself wouldn't normally do that, but with a little bit of paper that was in the bottom and the weather that got in it, yeah, that mold tried to establish a primitive root system, and it, of course, ate up the plastic. I don't hate you. You guys are assuming that we're capable of doing things that we ain't. You think that we don't have the money to take care of ourselves. How are we going to hire a real lawyer? And without the money for a real lawyer, well, we're screwed. Except for the fact that there's supposed to be agencies out there to help disabled people, right? Look at all these places that I have reached out to. Why is it that I do desperate shit? Because I needed help getting people to take a look. All these people who claimed that they cared and made every excuse not to take a look, and then the ones who were actually involved actively in the situation, wanting to pretend they didn't know nothing. Like, holy hell, this is some stupid shit. Anyway, I cursed a whole bunch on the telephone with the gentleman who called me, and he didn't pretend like that cursing was directed at him. I explained to him that I apologize because it's not actually French. But I also explained that I say it out of emphasis. And then I gave him an example of me talking calmly and collectively. And I explained to him that I can manage talking calm and collectively. The problem is that if I'm not heard, or people want to keep on giving advice instead of listening, or they want to keep on telling me to go places that I've already been, they keep on wanting to pass me off to other resources. It's a pretty screwed up situation. I want to try to get some money to go up to Starbucks. That camp over there, I guess they've got somebody to take them, so I don't need to do that part, which is good because my car is chock full. A lot of these people scammed the shit out of me. And they got away with it because I'm disabled. A lot of people claim that they were my friends. A whole bunch of people in my own family. That was to be expected. I actually expected that out of my family, but I didn't expect it out of my friends. Although I should have, because all of them had a history of doing stuff like that, but I had to let it go. Always have to let it go. When you punish me over your assumptions, and then you want to say you didn't assume nothing, and you're not punishing me. No. If I do that back to you, you don't fucking like it. I'll show you an example of it, and then I do it back to them, and then they hate me forever. Well, it doesn't feel very good, does it? With Natalie Bollinger, a lot of people are responsible for her death, myself included. But not just me. Everybody that I reached out to for help is also responsible. Everybody that she reached out to for help is also responsible. The thing is that she reached out in the wrong way. And she did the wrong thing to do so. I get that she was embarrassed in Virginia. You guys want to tell me about being an adult and taking responsibility? I've been taking responsibility for the crimes of others since I was a child. Of course I take responsibility for my own. The fact is I shouldn't have to break the law. I shouldn't have to call up Karen and tell her if I don't get help, I'm going to burn Hood River to the ground. Because in reality, am I going to burn Hood River to the ground? No, I like this place. I like most of the people here. They're nice. Most of them are idiots. And nice don't mean good, but they are nice. There's the fact that if I burn the place to the ground, it's going to affect not just the people in houses, but also the homeless people. If I burn the place to the ground, it will probably kill people. Do I have it in me to burn this place to the ground? No, I don't. I mean, hell, the one fire that I lit, Ken and Leah's place, the plan was to light two fires. One at Ken and Leah's place over at the, here's what I did. I went and I bought some gas and a gas can at the gas station, just a block from Ken and Leah's. And I made sure that I did that so that I could get it, so that it was recorded on the security cameras. When I talked to Brian Valenzuela, who was supposed to be the investigator, I told him where to find all of the evidence that he needed. I literally told him where to find all of it. And I went over to Ken and Leah's, and they got this vehicle It's an old forestry truck, so it's that ugly green color. And I poured some of that gas on the road right next to it. And then, of course, what I do, I tried to light it up. Well, it wouldn't work. So I tried to light up a piece of cardboard, and that didn't work. It got put out. So I put it up on top of the tire and pulled out another piece of cardboard and tried it again. You know how long it took me to actually psych myself up to do that? I mean, the whole time I'm doing that, I'm like, you know what, this sucks, that this is literally the only thing I can do to get heard. People keep wanting to talk over me and tell me how to think and how to feel. You know what, fuck all of your bullshit. I don't give a shit. I don't. What I needed help with was turning this shit in. Your personal fucking business is what everybody wanted to call me and tell me about. Their personal business. Their aunt, their uncle. If you guys needed help, you should have fucking stated that to begin with. But you also should have helped in your own right. With Shannon Alvarado, if she'd explained that she wasn't actually interested in helping me, what she was interested in was finding her friend Marnie, well, I'd have just helped her find her friend Marnie, and then I'd have moved on and tried to find somebody who actually cared to help. That guy there is an alcoholic, and he goes around, and he's also a bit of a con artist. He goes around and he picks up the cans and he turns them in. He knows that I'm not going to turn them in for him. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I also don't feel comfortable with him drinking and carrying around a big ass knife. Do what? Yeah, I heard you guys had somebody with a vehicle coming to pick you up.
There's a guy coming out to get us. It's going to take about 4 trips, I think.
Yes, sir. And the other thing is, there's a lot of people down there that are sober. Do they matter? Are they important? Long-term abuse, especially in a situation like this, you have to stop it at its source. When an at-risk adult comes to you in 2016 after October and is explaining to you about abuse they're going through, shut the fuck up, listen, help them turn it in. When did I first go to Miss Peaches about the situation? That would have been November of 2016. That's right after I left Virginia. When was the first time we actually sat down to try to actually talk about what was going on and try to find a solution? Well, that would be December of 2016. But she was drinking a little bit, and Abear woke up, and of course Abear had to be the center of attention, and his words had to be heard, and it's pretty memes. No, I need help turning crimes into the cops. I don't need you to bombard me with 10,000 fucking pretty memes. You've got a pretty meme for everything. You've got a pretty meme so that if people don't help you, then you throw it in their face. Hey, I've got this pretty meme that says you're supposed to help me. But when it comes to helping them, you got a pretty meme for that too. A pretty meme that says they got to do it themselves. Different rules, huh? But it's a pretty meme, so it must be true. It must be true. It's a pretty meme. Fucking dumbasses. All of those pretty memes are contradictory. And not all situations are the same. So instead of judging based off of a pretty meme, maybe you should find out the situation. You just gotta love yourself is the biggest crock of shit ever. If somebody is trying to get help stopping abuse, they do love themselves, and you need to stop blowing them off by telling them to love themselves. You need to help them turn in the abuse. If you actually care about the person, that's what you do. You don't make them beg you for months. You don't make empty promises and then ignore them for months and months and months and months and go, oh, well, I'm sorry, Sean, but I have a life. Fuck you. Yeah, people actually did that. Said, all right, Sean, I'll help you. What do you need? And then I type it to him, and then 6 months worth of crickets. And I go, hey, man, I've had 6 months worth of crickets from you. What the fuck? Oh, fuck you, Sean. Fuck you. You don't even know what's going on in my last 6 months. You're right. With a lot of these people, they wanted to ignore the situation with me, and as soon as they started going through a similar situation, they wanted to reach out to me for help. I'm like, whoa, hold your damn horses there. You're in Colorado. I needed your help while I was in Colorado, and you blew me off. Now I can't go to Colorado because you never stepped forward. And now you're angry at me because I won't go back to Colorado and rescue your dumb ass. No, you're dumb. You're a fucking two-faced piece of shit. You wanted to treat me like shit when I was going through it, not even listen to it, but now you're expecting me to listen to you. The ones who were the most expectant of that were always women. Always. If a man doesn't listen to a woman and do what she says, he's not a man. You tell us we need to just look out for ourselves, and then you tell us we're horrible people for not jumping through your stupid hoops. And then there's, of course, Jacob coming up to my vehicle yesterday morning, bleeding like a stuck fucking pig, telling me he needs a ride to the hospital, that his girlfriend was streaming that he was raping her, or that he had raped her. And so some guy socked him in the head with brass knuckles. But then there's the fact that she's walking around with him yesterday. They're boyfriend and girlfriend again. Her mother is sending him to go get quarters so they can, I don't know, I think it was a laundry thing. I'm not sure what they needed the quarters for, but let me ask you something. If Jacob had raped his girlfriend like she was screaming, like he got socked in the head yesterday morning for, why would she be back with him today, and why would her mother be supportive of them being back together today? Those false accusations get thrown around like wildfire, and it's not okay. That could have gotten him fucking killed. Imagine if instead of it being brass knuckles, imagine if it had been a knife that got stuck in his goddamn neck. It makes me wonder what it is that she wanted and expected that she didn't get. Then there's another lady here, and I don't know her name. God, I heard it yesterday. It's not registering. But she's got a boyfriend named Brandon. Brandon is 19. She's 37. So about a week ago, she was screaming that Brandon raped her, and then, of course, this week they're back together again. I don't want to be here. This is the reason I don't want to be anywhere near women, let alone junkie women. That shit gets thrown around like it's fucking candy as a manipulation technique. Not just out here on the streets either. Every woman knows if she doesn't get what she wants, she can make false accusations. Kind of like several of those women on my Facebook who wanted to, after they broke up with a man, wanted to accuse him of being a homosexual and saying he's into little boys. And then 3 weeks later, oh, I have to have him back. Oh, I love him. Whoa, you were just calling him a pedophile and a homosexual, and now you're pissed off that he won't take you back and he owes it to you to take it back? No, you're fucking insane. You are fucking insane. Your vagina is not a valid excuse for you to be a fucking nut job. You are a grown-ass fucking adult. You need to maintain your shit without false accusations. With me, I didn't have to make false accusations. Other people made false accusations against me, and I saved evidence that they were false accusations against me. But then again, the mentally ill tag, I must be guilty. My court was decided ahead of time, and so was the conduct towards me. What are the chances of me lighting Hood River on fire? Intentionally? None. None. Zero. On accident? Well, let me tell you something. It gets really hot. This foliage is all brown. If I was to park my vehicle in the wrong place, then the light reflecting off of my mirror or going through my glass at the wrong direction, or possibly a cigarette that I didn't put out correctly, could start a fucking fire. So, there is that. But it's not something that I'm gonna do intentionally to try to harm people. But the situation at Kennelly is I made sure that it was a controlled fire and that it was on the outside of the truck, the part of the truck that was facing away from the house. Now, my whole plan with that was to try to force the FBI to do their jobs because repeated calls and being blackballed and ignored. Well, I got sick of that shit. I had to do something to force them to do their fucking jobs. I had people like Dan Fabert and Layla Johnson trying to help me, but in reality, it was a bunch of fucking goddamn drama and bullshit. And Dan Fabert is making me go to Layla Johnson because he's just the money man. But then there's the fact that later on he wants to change his story around and, well, Jesus, dude, maybe you should try to, I don't know, look at the evidence. That might be a good start. That might be a big help. Meanwhile, through all of this, yes, these things are abusive. Taking advantage of an at-risk adult is abuse. Making me call all these places by myself. No, if any of these agencies are going to help me, they need to make these calls with me. I need a caseworker who is going to do that job. When homeless people are disabled, that's what we need, and there's supposed to be agencies to help us. When we're disabled, we're supposed to have access to those things too. Access doesn't mean that people care. Yes, we're supposed to be able to go in and show our evidence in person and have them take it seriously. But look at the situation with Tara Smith in Nebraska. In the conversation with her, it shows that we had spoken. She wants to tell me she can't remember nothing and it's going to take an act of God to get the report that she made. Well, why is that? Why is that? I was trying to make a report about the two officers who were there and present to intimidate me when she showed up. Officer Hahn and, of course, Bill Burr. Now, Bill Burr, I wanted to try to trust, but he ain't trustworthy. He's got a badge, and just like any other badge, he's a douche badge. Good to be ready. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. And remember, you are your brother's keeper. No victim left behind. Oh.